Hello, everyone. This is Ken, and this is our final ACC training sessions for the new features of V27 as we lead up to its release. This last session will be recorded and is being recorded. I do want to mention something is that the timing of all of these training sessions was leading up to what was announced to be the release date Tuesday, which is September 23rd. I just learned today that that has been punted to October 9th. So adjust your marketing, promotions, and whatever else accordingly. They are doing this to incorporate some last minute feedbacks on the mail merge, which we'll also be covering today, as well as trying to sync um, the different regional releases, French and German and so on and so forth. Okay, so with that update, I'm going to jump right in. What we're going to be covering today are three pieces of this um, new release. One, I will be starting off covering the Oppdater, and I'll get into more of that in a minute. Lubs will then take over, and he's going to be covering the new mail merge, as well as the changes with Act Sidebar for Outlook. Okay, so hopefully you guys get a lot out of that. I'm actually looking forward to learning more about the sidebar. I don't use it that much, so interested in seeing the new features. Okay, so let's start with the Oppdater. Now I'm showing right now, everyone should be able to see my opportunity list. Okay, the um, the Oppdater is another one of the time-saving bulk updater utilities that we're introducing with V27. What I have observed, and we'll just kind of jump into the use case. What I have observed, just make sure. Can everyone mute themselves, please? I've got getting some background noise. Okay, okay, that seems to do it. Okay, so what I have observed over the years is that many people create opportunities, but they fail to update them after their initial creation. So ops languish in their original stage. Okay, ops that are closed are often left open, cluttering up the pipeline and borking reporting. And ops may be left as inactive and then forgotten about, requiring lots of cleanup. Okay, so you get bad reporting, and all of this leads to people not actually using it. The situations are often caused by a number of things. Um, Most predominantly is when people use um, non-integrated tools to quote. Okay, so let's say they're using spreadsheets, they're using accounting programs like QuickBooks, very, very popular. People use the estimating feature, and then they've got to create an opportunity to correspond with something they've done in their accounting program, and then they forget to close it because there's no connection otherwise. Word files are everyone's favorite quote template in Act, and then also something industry specific, something that maybe it's from their wholesaler or whatever that allows them to generate quotes. Whatever the case, using such tools leads to deals being closed as won or lost, but not updated and act accordingly, leaving lots to clean up. And we've actually had people come on to Act Nation and say, what tools are available in this? Well, as of October 9th, V27 will include it. So the more that there is to clean up, the less likely this gets done, and the situation just gets worse. Um, and people just stop using it because the pipeline provides no meaningful reporting. Okay, Oppdater solves all that. So Oppdater allows you to do a lookup of any number of ops. So understand how this works. First of all, you go to the opportunity list. If you click on tools, okay, and go down here and use Oppdater, and you're in the contact section, it's going to prompt you to say, go to the opportunity section. Now you can be in the detail view or pipeline view, okay, but you're not going to see the changes taking effect, and you're not going to be sure that the right filter is applied, okay, because remember, this is going to work not on the selected opportunities, but on the filtered opportunities. So obviously, based on the use cases that I was just giving, we may want to do a lookup of all inactive um, opportunities from a particular sales rep. So let's say I wanted to set a certain time frame and say all inactive quotes by Shannon, please filter, and then I could do a batch update on those. So obviously list view makes that relevant. And Oppdater allows you to do a lookup of these opt and then apply bulk changes in one step. Changes to status, changes to process, changes to stage. So let's do a demo. Okay, so I'm here, I click on tools, go to Oppdater. Now the first thing that you're going to see is the status. That is going to be what most people will change. So this will be disabled by default, and you can change it to open, closed won, closed lost, or inactive, whatever suits your purposes. Okay. Now, the reason that this is set to do not change is because if anyone has to make a change to a process and then a stage, they don't want to make a mistake here. So you actually have to overtly make a change to the status selection. And if you don't and you want to do this, then you're not going to make unintended changes. So the first thing, I'm going to change, all of these are open. I'm going to change these to closed lost. Okay, I'm going to apply the changes. It said, do you wish to apply the update to the 5 opportunities? So not the one selected, but the 5 opportunities in your lookup. Yep, boom. You can see how quickly that is. Okay, so obviously that was 5, took less, around a second. So you can imagine if you're doing hundreds at a time, how much time that will save you. Okay, so now if I want to go back to the Oppdater, and I'm going to change the status back to open. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change, not going to change the status, but I'm going to change the process and stage. Now, as most of the people on this call know, you have to select a process first because more often than not, the individual processes will have different stages that are unique to that process. So you have to select a particular process first, and then you have to select a stage. If you try to click on apply here, you're going to get an error message. Why? Because essentially you are imposing a change to the process without applying a stage, which will create bad data. Okay. So now we're clicking here, say development.
This could lead to really large sinks too, right? If they're doing tons at a
Any
time.
batch update, like all the batch updates we've talked about the last few weeks can lead to really big sinks. Okay. Um, I was mentioning in the staff meeting this Wednesday that I did a lookup of all of the primary contact checkboxes, and I updated the favorites checkbox to reflect that. It's a checkbox, and it created a massive 30-minute sync. Okay, so anytime you're going to be doing bulk changes, even something as inconsequential as a single checkbox, it's going to have those implications. Any questions, any comments? Okay, the beauty of this is that you can do this in whatever chunks you want. So let's say that I want to, go through and do all of Victor's quotes, convert all of his inactives into closed, or change status and change the process and the stage. Okay, I can do them in chunks. Sorry, 1 second. Do them in chunks and then apply the changes in better, more controlled increments so that I don't have the experiment get out of the lab and create bad data. Okay. Last week I was thorough enough to show you precisely what not to do with one of the batch updaters, and I'm trying not to go through quite so thorough a process again this week. So, just make sure that you break them down in segments. Try not to do all of them at once, but if that does suit your purposes, you can do them very quickly. Any questions? Okay. Um, that let's just see here. Okay, so before we get into, before I punt it over to Lubs for his demo on mail merge, and Lubs, I'm actually going to make you the presenter.
Yeah, and I got one question that
Yeah, hey,
got
Stroke.
out there. Hey there, I'm sorry. Yeah, I put a question out there. I didn't want to interrupt you. Um, the I think it was in Act version 8. I migrated, I think, from Act 6, and it converted all of my stages to
Okay.
lost. So, I could go in there and I could probably replace that stage. I don't
Hmm.
recall what it was prior, but I'm
Well,
guessing
that's status, you mean?
no, actually not status, but stage. In other words, it inserted, and it now it's called the previous act sales process,
Oh, okay.
had a stage that was somehow inserted. I didn't have it in there, but it had one that they must have inserted that called lost. So I have a stage in the previous act sales process, which is the old one,
Right.
uh, that was lost. Now the question though is it does affect me sometimes because I look at it and it just doesn't look right. And the opportunity name is some random number because
Mhm.
that's the way it came over.
Mhm.
But I've always said, I really want to clean this data up, and I'm afraid of updating that particular field because then it will change the edit date. Do you have any ideas on maybe I could copy the edit date over to another field? Because once we do something like your program,
Right.
or this program I'm referring to, I'm assuming it's going to update that edit date field.
Oh, of course it will. Yeah. The I don't know much about your particular situation, other than to say, when you were going from version 6 to version 8, you know, we all know that, at that point, that was a very, I, I, I don't mean immature state of opportunities in any kind of pejorative way, but obviously 2010 was a complete rewrite of the opportunity table, and it became much more robust. It was a full freestanding table, unlike what it was previously, which was a child table. So there may be some of the implications based on that that may not apply now. Not really sure, but what you've raised is another use case where if you do have to massage a lot of data after an upgrade, and obviously that would be a fairly historical update, then this is a new tool that can bring you there. Now, we both know if you're coming from version 6, you can only go up to version 19, and then you would do a hop from 19 to 27. But I would say that this would be a good club to have in your bag for such a thing. But there, editing is editing. I mean, if you make any kind of edit, batch or otherwise, that's going to have the edit implication.
Unless you do it directly in the SQL table, correct? So if you in the SQL table and change it directly there, it won't affect the edit date, or will it still affect the
Yeah,
edit date?
well, Michael will be able to better comment on that. Typically, the edit dates are affected through the ACT framework, but the my only concern, it's funny because Nav mentioned this, asked this question earlier, would be the syncing implications of those kinds of SQL changes. So,
Um,
and Lubs can comment on that a little bit better. I'm kind of reaching beyond my grasp here,
But
but
you don't worry about it. This is just something you and I can talk about some other time.
okay.
It's just something I was curious to know. Will this tool, obviously it will let me update the sales process.
Yep,
Uh,
end stage. Yep.
so that means I can change all these lost stage, or I'm sorry, the sales stage. I
Yeah.
can change the sales stage from lost to completed or whatever it would be.
Yeah,
Uh,
and not to get too semantical, but the status is what's what you're expressing in terms of lost or won. Stage
no,
is
and that was the thing is that I have the status says closed one, but
right.
the act inserted a sales stage called lost under the sales process, which is now called previous act sales process. So there is
Eh,
a stage.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm thinking this program will allow me to go and do an edit replace on stage,
Right.
and then change lost to
Yeah. Well.
completed.
Yeah. It sounds like that'll be a useful tool for you. This.
Okay,
I mean, you're right. I shouldn't drill down quite so much into one use case, but I mean, whatever the circumstances are, and this is obviously a rare one. Whatever brings you to the point where you need to do these batch updates, this is a good club to have in your bag. So
gotcha.
thanks,
Okay,
thanks for using
thank you. I'm
that.
sorry.
Um, Any other questions on my section before I kick it over to Lubs for mail merge and Act Sidebar?
Yes, Ken, this is Karen.
Hey, Karen.
I just wanted to confirm that you can use this to do record manager updates for sales opportunities.
No, but that is already available in Act by using the what is it here? Yeah, just replace field here. So that we didn't obviously want to have any duplicative features. So right now, Act itself with version 26 or older doesn't have any native tools that allows you to do batch status stage or process updates. Field replacements for in terms of record manager, yes. Also, just as a reminder for those people that use link to quotes either independently or as part of Act Advantage, you do have batch update features that allow you to select a bunch of quotes and change the sales rep, which will then ripple down to the opportunities to change the record manager.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, Lubs, take it away.
Ken, thanks. Can you see my screen?
I can, yes.
Okay, beautiful. All right, so we're going to start out with the sidebar first, Outlook sidebar, and then we'll move into the new mail merge, okay? So as we're looking at here in in Outlook, once you go through your Act preferences and link up your address book to Outlook, next time you open up Outlook, you're going to see this. First, you'll see the Act menu at the top of the screen in Outlook, and then if you want the sidebar on, there's a toggle sidebar icon. You can turn it on or off, okay? And typically, if you're going to be using it, you want to have it on so you can, get all the benefits of the sidebar, okay? And so let's go over those right now, okay? So this email I'm looking at right here, Patrick, he's already in my Act database. So when that's the case, it's going to show on the right-hand side, it's going to show his name and everything, and any information I have on that record in my Act. So if I were to go to his record in Act, there's his Act record, and has minimal information, but basically showing that over here in the sidebar. Now, if I want more and or less information to show in this particular sidebar here, there's a settings button. It looks like a little gear in the upper right-hand corner over here. And when I click that, I can move things around. So if I wanted the mobile phone to be up higher, I can drag it to wherever I need it to go. Why is it not dragging? Okay. Or I can add fields to the layout. Make that a little bigger so I can see all the fields I want to add. And so I can add fields by just checking the checkbox. So if I want to add birthday there, I can add birthday. It gets added, and maybe I want to take away, referred by. And save my changes. And then now those are the new fields that are showing up there. Obviously, you don't want to show every single field there because then you'll just have a long sidebar of all the fields. So you typically want to show the sort of the main fields and fields that you may want to update from time to time, okay? Because you can change the data right here. So let's say I found out this person's title. I can go to that title field, type in the data, and then down here there's a Save Changes button. I'm going to save my changes. Down here in the lower, you get a little notification. Contact changes have been saved. Let's go over to Act. And if we're on that record, we have to refresh. If we weren't, we could just look them up. Let's go ahead and refresh it. And now that you see that the title is populated. Okay. Other things you can do here, down here in the Actions section, there's a button there for Address Book. That allows you to see the rest of the database. So if you wanted to pull up somebody else's data, for example, maybe Patrick's working with somebody else in the database, let's say Bruce. I want to view his details. So now Bruce is over here, Bruce's information. Maybe I need to change something here on Bruce or add something for Bruce's record. To get back to Patrick's, I can go back to the address book and look up Patrick, or I can just sort of like click on his email again and it'll refresh over here in the sidebar. So you can do either one of those. Okay. Quick attach is going to quickly attach that email to that person's history if I click that. And then these other ones now, I can add an activity right from this screen here. So I click add activity. And what it's going to do is it's going to pull the details, is going to be the body of the email. So you see here, the details is the body, okay? The regarding will be whatever the subject of the email is. So it pulls both of those in there. And then I just choose whatever type of activity I want, the date, time, and all that information. Click add activity. And then now if I were to go back to act, there's that activity under that person's record. All right, let's go back to the sidebar. We could attach this email to additional contacts. So quick attach is going to attach it to Patrick's record. Attach to contacts will allow you to attach it to somebody else's record. Okay. Add a note. So I quickly add a note to Patrick's record. Okay.
Can you do custom formatting there on the note? No, right? It's just default windows.
As far as like how you have it in act, like bold or
Yeah.
is that what you mean? Yeah, no. Yeah, it's just strictly pretty much a text note, so to speak. Yep. Once it gets to act, then you can, if you want to make any changes here, then you can do your graphical or your, changes there. But yeah, right in the sidebar, you cannot do that. And for preferences here, this preferences button allows you to control, how the emails are attached when sending things. Okay. As far as what type of history do you want? Do you want it to be private? Do you want to exclude my record? This is a good one. Notify you each time you email somebody who's not in ACT. It'll pop up and ask you if you want to create that contact. Here's one that's sort of somewhat new. Do not add emails from users with the same email domain to history. So, for Outlook Exchange users, you can check that, and then if they have the same domain, even if they're not a user in ACT, it still will not get attached to the history. Okay, and then as you see down here, it's showing you the note that I had just put in there. Okay, so it's going to show you the last 5 notes, last 5 histories, and last 5 opportunities of that particular contact. Right now, it's not showing the activities. I'm not sure if that's going to be in the future or not, but that would be something nice to add there as another tab, because those are sort of the 4 main tabs that people probably use within the ACT system itself. But currently, it's not. So you see history, notes, and opportunities. Okay.
Michael, for that domain, for the preference for domain users, is that the same as the ACT preference where don't record emails between ACT users?
No, because think about Keystroke. We may have some people that don't use ACT, but they have the same domain name, so they're not users in ACT, but they have the same email domain. So if they're in your ACT database though as a contact and you email them, you may not want that recorded in ACT history. That's what it'll be for.
Okay.
Yep. All right, so let's go to somebody who's not in ACT and show you how the sidebar is going to look for that particular person. So I go to this record. You'll just get a message here. The contact was not found in your ACT database. Would you like to add him now? And if you want to add him, you click yes, add now. Brings up this create contact screen. Okay, and this part here, this one cannot be changed. This is sort of hard coded here. So as you notice, like if you remember in that sidebar, I had birthday on there. You won't see birthday here. So this is pretty much hard coded here. Once you get into the sidebar, then you can add additional information if needed to. Okay. And the contact is being pulled from this person's name here. Okay, so let's show you a different one actually, because that's not a really good example. They have their email as their contact name. Let's do this one. Okay, so now you see whatever their display name on their email is, that's going to pull into the contact field. Whatever their email is, that'll pull into the email field. Okay, and then you can add additional information. And then create contact. And now you see it over here. And if I were to go into ACT, I'll see it there as well. Okay, and once I enter information over here, I'm going to see it in Outlook as well. So let's add ID status. Save it. And then just as you have to refresh in Act, there's a refresh button here in Outlook in the sidebar. And then now you see that ID status gets updated as well. Okay, so it's very, very, very quick, very, you know, to see the data going both ways. Very easy to see that. Let's just create one here as well for our mail merge that we'll do. Okay, changes. All right, so now we can go back to Act
Labs,
and we'll
would
see.
it catch duplicate checking there?
So if the record, well, if it's duplicated, it will say it won't say to add it.
I know, but it's only referencing by email though, right? In the database.
Well, that's what you're going by, correct? So then there's no duplicate then.
Okay.
So when you say duplicate, what do you mean?
Oh, I mean, it's Michael Cadlib is in our database, but he's emailing us from his personal email, kind of thing.
But what if there's multiple Michael Cadlibs?
Wow, yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
I get a lot more work done.
I think I've noticed that if the email address is in ACT more than once, right above the contact where the ACT logo is, it will let you select
Which
the
one?
contact that you want to link it to.
Oh, that's a great one. Let's do that. Let's put that in here and show everybody. I wasn't aware of that one. Right, so we should have two Michael K's at KQC. Let's just make sure. Yes. Okay. Let's go there. Oh, nice. Okay. So if you do have a duplicate by email now, once again, it's by email. Thanks, Scott. If by email address, it will show you which one you want, and then you can edit them accordingly. Okay. All right. So does anybody have any questions on the sidebar there?
I do. I have a stupid question. It's Shannon. So
Oh, hey, Shannon.
is the sidebar actually built into the integration, or and is there a way to just turn the sidebar off if you don't want the sidebar thing and it just do what it normally does?
Sure. Right here it says toggle, and it's off.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But it gets installed as part of the integration.
It's part of the integration. Yeah. Yep. Correct.
Okay.
Now, Lubs, obviously, when we install ACT for Outlook, it will prompt you the first time that another integration exists and disables it, and then this would be unavailable, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I don't think I don't know if ACT for Outlook prompts you to disable anything.
Does now.
But okay. Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah, when it detects
yeah.
that there's two Outlook integrations, it prompts you to disable the other one to avoid duplications of history. So, some people, as you know, have done that, and
for sure. Yeah. Some people in our
people you work for,
I believe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Surprising. Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, guys, I actually keep both of them on, and I use the sidebar, but I turn all of the attaching options
the history
off.
recording off. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Turn all that stuff off. That way I still have the sidebar. My only complaint about the sidebar is that I teach my customers to use the history, not use notes. And there's not a create history button on the actions, which means if you want to record that the person called you or something like that, if they, I know I complained about it a long time ago, right when 16 first came out, and I said, please add an add history button there. So anyways.
That's a good idea. Yep.
So not to rush us here, but I just got a text that my wife just landed at the airport, so we need to move this along.
Okay.
We're going to jump into the mail merge section, which Lubs is also going to host. So just to give you guys some context, APC will have a new mail merge technology, okay, and version 27 is intended to provide a similar type mail merge technology that uses the same kind of template format. Okay, so that's why this is important, because you'll be able, in a mixed environment where you've got both desktop and web users, that you'll be able to all use the same templates, okay? And this template technology, most of you guys are familiar with because the desktop publisher is the same as the one with custom tables. So you'll be familiar with the UI. The workflow is going to be very different, okay? And the reason I'm emphasizing that is that they've just had us redesign the workflow in APC to be much more modern and consistent with the UI of the overall web experience, but they are not having us do that within the desktop. Okay, they're going through some small tweaks right now, making sure the preferences support what they intend, because there's going to be a lot of people that don't want to change. Okay, if they're not using the web, they're going to continue on. Why make changes just for the sake of it? Okay, but we all know the pain that we've suffered not being able to have web users be able to do mail merge. This is just kind of a continuation in supporting that upcoming change. Okay, so with that, let me give it back to Lubs.
Thanks, Sam. Yeah. So now with that being said, the mail merge now is totally the same. So in the desktop and the web, you're going to see the same menu under right, same options. So you're not going to have to change anything. And the templates, as Ken said, will all have the same extensions. Okay. As you're moving forward, like if you're just starting, so to speak, on version 27, what you'd want to do is convert all your templates from ADT to the new templates. So you would go to Write, Templates, Template Converter, and it's going to give you a message here that's going to convert all existing ADT templates to the new format. And this includes any sub folders underneath the template folder, which is nice. So if you created subfolders, it'll create everything within those subfolders as well. We had a client, I think they had I can't even count the number of subfolders they had, and probably over 200 total templates, and it did all of them in a matter of a few minutes. So it's pretty quick too as well to convert the templates. So
Does it leave a copy of the ADT?
yes, correct. Yeah, it doesn't just change the name, so to speak. There's the
It
ADTs will
creates
still be in there,
a whole new
but
file, so nothing
Okay.
gets deleted.
yep.
Because
Okay.
I'm just thinking in a situation where a client upgrades to maybe 27 does this, but they still have other users on a different version.
Yeah, nothing gets deleted, but the objective is obviously to get people unified under a single template format, so you don't have people updating one format and not the other, and people using out-of-date templates. So
Right.
that's why it's important that we made sure that this version supported this new mail merge technology, so that people would be able to do that. Otherwise they'd be waiting 6 months for the 27.1.
Yeah, so now, for example, somebody who's using a remote database, but somebody uses the web heavily, they modify it in the web. If we kept the old technology here in desktop, that person would never get that updated template because they're using the ADT file instead of the new file. So that's
Yeah,
sort of
so
the
it's
thought
going to
process
be
there. Yeah.
important going forward with this version that we make sure everyone is on the same version locally so
Correct.
that this doesn't happen.
If they're doing mail merge, absolutely. Yep. Okay. They still have the same, 4 options here. Especially the ever important fax cover page. I'm not sure how many people still are using that,
Oh,
but
that's critical. Imagine the relief people are
yeah,
going to have to be able to
yeah.
re-access that.
So if you do want to use one of those, you click it, you give it a name and location, and it pulls up in Word. So those are the, I don't know if any people are going to be using that, but it's
I
there.
think Steve is still using it.
What's that?
Steve's still using it.
Oh yeah,
Steve might still be using it. Yep, that's why they
yeah.
kept it for Steve.
Along with the memo one.
So before you send any emails, what you need to do is set up your email. And this is similar to some of the things you've probably done in the past with different, if you use some of our products, the authentication settings. So you put your display name you want for the email, your email address, and then whatever authentication you're going to use, whether it be SMTP, Google, or Microsoft. I've already done this, but basically you would just click sign in with your account. You log in, you give your password, and then test connection, and everything should be good. So, that's a pretty simple process there. The only difficult part would be if people are SMTP. Obviously, they need to know their servers and all that information. So, but I think a majority of our clients are probably either Google and or Microsoft, which it's pretty simple. You just sign in and you're good to go there.
Now,
So
the
once you have that
obvious
set up,
implication of this, Lubs, is that by having the email settings within ACT, you're bypassing Outlook.
Correct. That's correct. Yeah, so it's not going to use Outlook at all for this merge. It's strictly going right through your email authentication there when you're sending the email. So let's create a quick template here, and then we'll send it out. I'll show you what it looks like. So to create templates, it's to either create and or edit templates, write templates, manage templates. And so once again, it's not using Word, not using Microsoft Office's own template editor. And if you've used Custom Table Editor or Notifier or one of those, Mail Merge for ACT, this looks very familiar to you. So let's just move that over. And then to insert any fields over here, you have two options. So you can bring in the contact information or my record information. And you can, let's say we want to put in a picture in here, insert picture. Put in our good webinar picture. This guy's looking very handsome. All right.
Every time,
and
Lux.
then, you know, that seems to be the one I have. So you got to give me some new graphics, Ken.
Yeah, I'll get right on that.
So then you insert your fields that you want on there. Okay. And I could put in more information, but I just wanted to give you an idea. Once again, you can put a picture in there, you put in a merge field, you can enter in any additional information you want there. And then once everything is good, save it, give it a name. And you can close down your template editor. And then just as you would do normally, you look up the people you want to merge to, or you can do it to a group and or company. I'll show you where you're going to do that in a second. But if you're just merging to a lookup, you look them up and then go to write mail merge and select either Word or email. They're both. It's going to both be the same process, except for Word. There's no subject wizard part of the thing where you put in the subject line. So that's basically the only difference, and you're saving a file versus emailing it. So they're both going to start out with here. You choose your template. Click next. And now here's where you choose who you're sending this to. The current contact you have highlighted, current contact lookup, in this case those 3 contacts, all contacts, or if you choose select a group or select a company, then you'll have an option here to select either one of those. So choose one of your groups and it'll email everybody in that group. Or if you do the company, it'll do everybody in whatever company you've selected there. Okay.
And this is obviously the one big advantage of using mail merge versus AMA. AMA has to work with groups, whereas you can just have a quick lookup that is only supported in mail merge. There's actually no API support for lookups of any kind.
Okay. And so we're going to do current contact lookup. And then here's going to be your subject. You can CC people if you want, or BCC. Choose the recording of history that you want. And that's it. Click next to start the wizard.
Loves, I didn't see an option to attach a document in the mail merge.
Oh, geez, of course. Let me authenticate my email again. Let's go back there. You cannot attach documents. That's correct.
That isn't available yet. And also, Lubs, I didn't see a section that said copy only one, like if you're BCCing or CCing one, will that mean if you send it out to 500 people and I copy Nav will get it 500 times?
Correct.
Okay. So be mindful of that if it's on a large distribution.
Yeah, that's
and I'm guessing too,
good.
It's not, there's no batch loading. I didn't see that like we had in some of the other programs.
Yeah, and that was by design. Like that we weren't looking to replace our mail merge product, but really replace theirs. Okay. So it's not meant to be like mail merge for ACT with all the extra features.
So customers will have to be mindful of how much they're sending out so they don't get their domains blocked.
Yeah, but that's always been the case, right? Like if they are using their own SMTP server, then they've always run that risk. Just like Gmail accounts I remember one time I sent out 1,000 emails and then I couldn't send out even a regular email after that.
It's what, is it 50 or 100 that they're usually looking at?
Gmail is 1,000 per day, and it doesn't matter how you send it out. You cannot send out 1,001.
Oh,
So
okay.
you're just blocked for the next calendar day.
Michael said that we were going to get, if they're sending mail merge to just one, that it was going to open up the email for us to make edits.
We
If
are
we're
working on that.
if
Yeah.
we're doing it, if we're doing an email blast to more than one, can we have a preview window of what it looks like before we
No,
send off?
you will get a test email option. So there will be a
Okay.
button to send a test email.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So here's that email that came to me. All right, if I were to go into Act, I'll see that history of that webinar, and then if I were to go into Outlook and click on that contact, I will see the history there as well.
Ken looked pretty muscular there.
He does, yeah. Been working out.
Yeah, I was looking at that picture carefully. I wasn't sure if my head looked unusually small or large.
The answer is yes.
Just on the unusual part, right? And nothing else.
And that's mail merge. So like I said, not a lot of options to choose from, but very powerful and very easy and quick to use. So and matches with the web. So that's the most important part there as well.
And sometimes it's useful. Like I'll tell you that for my purposes, in terms of mailing and alerts and things like that, you'll get a lot of people that get pretty trigger happy with the opt-outs within AMA. If you've got a critical alert, it's nice to have this club in your bag where you can send out an email that isn't subject to server-side suppressions.
Is this version schema breaking?
No.
Okay.
No, we actually went to a great deal of trouble to avoid schema breaking because Primary Contact Plus, which is what I demoed 2 weeks ago, actually required you to create a checkbox, a primary contact checkbox. So we reprogrammed it to repurpose the favorites checkbox, and that way we didn't have to create one field or make any changes to the schema.
Yeah, so it'll be
This drops Tuesday?
25.0.1 still.
No, you may have come in late. That's been punted until October 9th.
October 9th. Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
It's good,
Well,
I guess.
I suppose not so good for the Canadian market that might be thinking of turkeys around that time, but it won't be the first time that they overlook the Canadian market.
And just so everybody knows, so when you install it, if you don't have any kind of SQL on your computer, it will install 22 Express. If
Yes.
you have 19, it'll keep the
Leave it
19. As you see my 19 here on my computer here, I have 19, so it just kept that. If you have an older version, 14, it will upgrade it to 22.
Now, ACT said when 27 drops, they're going to have a bunch of servers, probably a couple, to start off with running SQL 2022. But they, similar to before, RDBs created in 19 will sync to it, but any new RDBs created within 22,
right,
the end user will need 22.
Yep.
Yeah,
so,
I would.
You have a, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm going to suggest, and I haven't talked to them about this, so I don't have confirmation. I'm going to guess that they're going to slow roll the SQL 2022 servers, just because of this situation where it's not a critical update. 2019 is going to be supported for obviously 4 more years. But more importantly, we know that in a syncing environment, the server, you can have a bunch of 22 RDBs that will sync to v19, but you can't have v19 syncing to 22. So the server has to be the lowest SQL version. So I imagine that they're going to slow roll that just to avoid too much disruption in the early months.
Will 22 even install on a Windows 10 machine? Do we know? Since we know we're going to have customers on Windows 10.
Well, we hope not, because after October 14th, that won't be supported. So we'll have our own internal policies around supporting that. I know that SQL 2014 is problematic installing into Windows 11. And I know that 2019 installs into Windows 10. I don't know if 22 will install into Windows 10. So good question. But I think at that point, we should probably be advising our customers that, this is an unsupported environment, kind of wash our hands in it.
Do we have a test machine in Windows 10 that we could probably test a manual install of 22 just to see?
I would probably pick one of Vic's machines because anything with Vic is going to be old and dated, as well as his computers.
No, it's just I know we're going to see this, right? So that's all.
Right.
Just wait till next month, Ken. Just wait till next month.
That's right. I will be 1 year closer to you. Yes. Anything else, guys? I think Bud must have fallen asleep through my presentation because normally he would have more questions. So
No, I'm here and I'm listening. The only thing that I've seen on that sidebar with Outlook is that it's kind of hard to get CC people connected with it. So if you get an email from somebody and there's some CC people on the email that you want to try to capture, it's not very smooth to try to do that.
Make it even worse, but it's the what if the person's using their personal email or another email address that's in ACT? It doesn't resolve that. It only resolves the defaulted email field.
Right. And it's from the the from guy or the to guy. It's not, the CCs are tough.
Correct.
any other questions, guys? Okay, sorry to be antsy here, but I'm expecting a call from my wife to rush to the airport any minute, so I'd rather not leave you guys while I do that. So we'll wrap up. Thank you very much. I hope this was of value to you guys. We will send this to be ripped and recorded and distribute it accordingly. You'll probably see it in news and notes next week. Okay,
Yeah,
and also
you had trouble with the wife there, Ken. You better get going.
yeah, no, she hasn't deplaned yet. I've been waiting for that. And she's coming in from Europe, so that probably won't be a super fast process. But the one thing you're going to hear about next week, and you saw in news and notes this week, is that next Friday we are going to have a Q4 sales workshop right around this time. I think it's going to be at 12 o'clock instead of 1 o'clock, just for the sake of Haley and Lindsay, who are 5 hours ahead of us. So everyone on this call, please be mindful to attend that so that we can, hit Q4 with as much momentum as possible. Okay. So look for that in news and notes, and I will see you guys next week. Have a great weekend. Take care.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ken.
Bye-bye.